You know, I don't think I've ever asked this when I have watched Food Wars, and I think I want to ask this now, because it happened to me in this episode when I was watching Food Wars, and I'm just curious about it. Am I the only one that cannot watch Food Wars when I don't have food? Like, I need food when I watch this series. Like, if I sit down and watch Food Wars without food, my stomach growls. I'm like, I need fucking food. Like, I need to pause the episode just to get food, because it's that type of series. I mean, the way you look at some of the food in this series, and you just see the aroma and all that, I'm like, oh my god, I need some food. I need some fucking food. And when I saw that curry and stuff pop up, like, I had a huge craving for curry. When I saw some of the spices towards the end of the episode, I'm like, I need some fucking curry. Sadly enough, I don't have any curry, so kind of disappointing, but it still doesn't matter. I mean, am I the only one that needs food when it comes to Food Wars, like when you're sitting down and watching? Please let me know in the comments. I'm just curious about that. So, back to this episode. So, Food Wars this week, it sets up for the tournament to begin. So, the battle, the match, the Shokugeki, for instance, is beginning. And I cannot wait to see who is going to win this. I mean, it's kind of obvious that Soma is going to overcome this. I think he will overcome this Shokugeki, but judging by the ending of the episode, I'm raising my eyebrows right now, like, Soma, really? You studied that hard, and now you pass out in the middle of this competition? You don't fucking, oh my god. Like, that's a world-class derp right there. Like, that is a straight-up world-class derp. I mean, that's like studying for months or years. You know, let's put it this way. It's like studying for a decade, like rocket science, okay? Studying rocket science for 20 damn years for some reason, and you prepped up, you have all this work behind your belt. I mean, you're very fucking intelligent, very smart. We know you're intelligent, but then when you get to the test to do whatever you need to do, you fucking pass out. You're like, you know, fucking sleeping. I mean, yeah, that is what freaking Soma did in this episode. Like, he just fucked up so hard. I mean, who passes out right before, oh my god, that is why they tell you to sleep before shit like this happens. This goes to show you how much work Soma actually put into what he was doing, which I do want to talk about. So, this episode kind of is a time skip in a certain sense. Like, it's not necessarily a time skip, but it kind of could be considered that, because we got to see time pass very fast, and it was like a month's time that passed by, and our characters figured out what type of recipe they wanted to use in the competition. So, it was a time skip, but not the exact same to its foundation, because, I mean, we got to see kind of what was going on with some of them studying. And so, to see how Soma, throughout the course of this month time span, or a couple weeks, he was doing nothing but thinking about curry. Like, if you look in the montage scene of this episode, like when time is passing very fast, you will see to where Soma is in the bath, he's waking up, he's sitting down eating. Every moment of his day was working on this curry and what he should do for the Shokugeki. And to think about that, it just goes to show you how much he has tried to make something very nice and good, and for him to be sleeping on this day, for instance, right before the competition, it lets you know he was still studying and trying to figure out what he wants to do with the food he's about to prep. So, for that to happen, there's two things you can really pull out of the end of this episode. Number one, Soma, he studied hard, and he just needed rest, and he's ready to make his ingredient that's going to be fucking great, and he will win. Or B, he studied so hard that he still couldn't come to a conclusion of what he wanted by the time the competition arrived, if you get my point. So one of those two things happened, and I really hope it's not B. So, wonder how Soma's going to handle, you know, waking up. Like, I don't think anyone's going to really go out of their way to wake him up, if you think about it. I mean, if we look at previous competitions and stuff, I don't think Soma's going to be getting up. Unless he is doing something to fool his opponents, which I highly doubt. So, many questions about the ending cliffhanger of Food Wars this week. Now, back on to the other contestants of this battle. We get to see, like, everybody doing their own unique style, like a witch style to just, you know, meat style. I mean, so many different styles going on for this episode, and you can see that there's going to be a lot of interesting dishes next week, which I will definitely have to have curry next week when I sit down and watch this series, because I'm probably going to be fucking hungry for that curry after I see all the different dishes next week. I mean, Nikumi alone is going to just make me hungry when I see her dish. Like, she's going to have some nice good meat inside of it. It's just like, cannot wait. Now, episode prepping up for the battle. And that's about it. And I mean, one thing I noticed from this episode, you had one of the judges were saying that Megumi is not really that good. Like, she doesn't seem to be that confident or very good as a chef. We got that dialogue in this episode, and I'm like, you don't do that shit. You don't look at Megumi and think she's a sack of shit. She will showcase that she is a brilliant chef, and I feel like that's what's going to happen, because there's been one main theme behind the scenes throughout Food Wars, where Megumi is trying to be very independent, where she could cook on her own without the help of Soma. And I feel like that's where she's going with this, especially with this dish, with how she went back to her hometown, and how she's going to be taking upon herself to cook this curry dish by herself. I feel like this is going to be a great way to showcase how much growth Megumi has made by herself. Now, that's pretty much about it when it comes to Food Wars this week. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How do you all feel about it? To you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.